In Module 2, we discuss physical abuse and the different types of abuse. Physical abuse is the non-accidental injury to a child. Bruises or marks in the skin in an area that typically do not bruise when a child falls, such as the back of the arm or the back of your back or leg, or marks that are in the shapes of objects, are suspicious and should be reported. Burns are a product of time and temperature. A bad burn that has no reasonable explanation or a burn in the shape of an object are suspicious. Children who exhibit behavior extremes or who are wary of adult contact may be being abused or neglected. Emotional abuse is the tearing down of another individual such that it damages their psychological well-being. Emotional abuse is very difficult to prove. It is also the most common type of abuse and is always present when other types of abuse occur. Emotional abuse is also the most psychologically harmful type of abuse as it interferes with a child's social and emotional development. Three types of emotional abuse are psychological abuse, verbal abuse, and emotional neglect. Parents who abuse drugs or alcohol are almost always emotionally neglectful of their children because their focus is on their addiction versus their child's well-being. Many types of mental health disorders have their origin in childhood emotional abuse. Childhood sexual abuse is the exploitation of the child for the sexual gratification of the adult or a much older child. It includes the intentional touching of a child's private areas of the body for reasons other than safety, health, child care, hygiene, medical care. One of the most psychologically damaging effects of sexual abuse is the misuse of trust by a close caregiving adult. Incest is child sexual abuse by a member of a child's family. Incest-prone families are usually dysfunctional, have an imbalance of power, and often have an either emotionally or physically absent mother. When a child discloses sexual abuse, we must report it to the authorities. If you see a pattern of concern, even with no disclosure, you must document and report it. It is important to support the child and their family after a disclosure has been made. How families react to the disclosure can further traumatize the child. Aid the family by supporting them, by connecting them to appropriate resources, and by educating them about sexual abuse. And above all, keep the situation confidential by sharing information only with those professionals who need to know the situation.